So in this video, we're going to have a look at some of the other ways you can add notes into Xplan. So here on the home screen, there's actually a plus button, which is the create button. You can click on it and you can add a note in. I never ever train people to do this because when I click on note and go to related, you notice that it's not actually saving into any client record. You have to remember to come to the related tab and add in who the note's about. And I just find everyone forgets. And then at that point, they either just make another note and then remember to add in the client it should be saved against. I used to have to go back and check the unallocated notes quite often. And so I'd come across this note, I'd be like, oh, I've got to fix it up. They forgot. And then now there'd be a duplicate in the client record. So I used to find it pretty annoying. So I guess personally and selfishly, I don't promote adding the note from this screen. The next way you can add in notes is by clicking on the search bar and against your client, you can click on this little triangle and then you'll have an add note. This adds just to that one person. So let me show you. If I look up Julia and I go triangle, add note, it's adding to her. Okay. So that's another way you could get a note in. I'm going to go into the client record now. Just click the little triangle, come down to where it says notes. And so far I've been talking about, us in the practice adding notes, right? But actually, if your client had client portal, then they can send you a message and that would save here as a note. And your site administrator would have set it up so that you can get an email and know that you've got something to read here. What it would actually look like is it would say type secure message. Actually, maybe I'll click add so you can see. It would actually say type secure message and it would say client initiated. It would have their subject and their notes in here. And then here, where it says owner or modified, let me move to the side. It would actually say your client's name. Okay, so that's another way notes can come in straight from the client. Another way you can get notes in is from the product. So I'm going to click on the icon strip. I'm going to go to financial details, insurance, by cover. I like looking at it by cover, but nothing wrong with looking at it by policy as well. And I've added in an insurance policy. I've made one up for demo purposes. And when I click on edit, on the menu on the left, you can see notes. And there's already a note here because when I made the note in another video, I associated it with this policy. So you could link an existing note. So you could come here, link an existing note for all insurance types and go search. And then hopefully you have a consistent naming convention and you'd see all the ones that start with MLC 9999, tick them all and go OK. And then boom, in bulk, they're all linked here. So that's an easy way to back associate notes. Because I think this ability to associate maybe has only been around for maybe 3 years at this point. So I guess any notes earlier than you finding out can be done wouldn't be associated. Or you can just add a note. Still, please have your consistent naming convention. You don't always have to use a subtype, I suppose, only if it's relevant. And then whatever it's about. Let's pretend that this is an application, even though it doesn't really make sense for my case study, but let's just pretend. And then when you go to the associations tab, you don't actually need to link the product and you won't see anything here. Once you go save and close and you look at it again, then it associates because you're already on this screen. So it just knows it's supposed to be associated. So that's another way you can add notes into Xplan. Another way you can add notes into Xplan is using the Outlook plugin. So you're going to get emails from clients that has to go into a note. If you're using Outlook, there is an Outlook plugin. So just go to Iris Community and look up the latest instructions in case the instructions I tell you is a little bit out of date. And also, and so the benefit of using Outlook plugin is, you have those back and forths with the clients. Maybe you've gone back and forth and there are 10 emails. When you push it into Xplan using Outlook plugin, it actually saves into one email, so it doesn't clutter up your notes. There was a video on Iris Learning Center about it as well. I'm not sure if it's still there, but you could go have a look at that. The next way to add notes into Xplan is by emailing straight into the client record. So last time I looked at the plugins, which, okay, to be fair, was a year ago, there was only a plugin for Outlook. There wasn't something for Gmail or any other email client. And to be fair, I don't know if it's even worth making a plugin for every other email client besides Gmail, because Outlook and Gmail are the two commonly used ones. So if you're a Gmail user, assuming that your Xplan site has been set up to allow emails into the client record, then you could just have an email per client record and boop, forward it on. So if I just show you my client list, it just so happens I've already got a column for entity ID, but if you don't see it, of course, you could click on the settings cog so you could show it. But this entity ID would form part of the email, and that's how it would know that, boom, that note goes into Julia's record, or that note goes into Romeo's record. I guess the downside is that if you are adding that email in the CC part of your email, then every back and forth reply becomes another note. So I guess what you could do is wait till the conversation is finished, that final email has all the attachments and the text, and then email it in. So it's just tidy in one note. But I guess that only works if your conversation happened over the last 1 or 2 days. Like if you're having a conversation over a month, we're not going to wait a month before we get information in, right? I guess worst comes to worst, you might have to cut and paste stuff from your emails in. But it'd be much handier if you could email into Xplan or use a plugin. All right, so those are all the other ways I can think of getting notes into Xplan. If I've missed anything, you can let me know in the comments. And there's actually another 2 note videos coming up. So share if this video has been useful to you, and I'll see you in the next one.